Hi everybody, subscribe to Chemverse tutorial channel and hit the bell icon to get latest chemistry videos. Hello everybody, welcome to Chemverse tutorial. This is our 7th lecture on the organometallic chemistry, and today we are going to discuss about metal carbonylate. Okay, so if you follow my previous lectures, I have already completed the metal carbonyls in my previous 4 lectures over there, and you can click on the description box and you can check on the I button above. There you can find the link of my previous lectures. You can watch that from there and that will be much helpful for you. Okay, now today I am going to discuss about metal carbonylates, but before starting, let's take some more examples of the substitution reactions which we had discussed in my previous class. Over here, what you can see that we are going to discuss about some substitution reactions of chromium hexacarbonyl. So if you take a look at the structure of chromium hexacarbonyl, it's an octahedral molecule having the coordination number 6 over there. So it's a 18 electron complex. Why? Because chromium has 6 valence electrons and 6 carbonyl will give 12 electron to the total valence electron count, and it will be as 18. What I can say that 18 electron complexes are stable complex. Now if substitution occurs, after substitution the total valence electron count will obviously be 18. Now over here what I can say that benzene, it is a hapto-6 mode of binding, because you can think that there are 6 pi bonds and they are donating electron density simultaneously. So 6 centers are involving in the bond formation with the metal. So it's a hapto-6 one. Hapto-6 means this hapto-6, it is nothing but your benzene ligand. So you can say that it's hapto-6 C6H6 ligand. It's a 6 electron contributor. So when it is contributing 6 electrons, so it will substitute 3 carbonyl, because each carbonyl donates 2 electron to the total valence electron count. So this is the product where the 3 carbonyl atoms are carbonyl ligands are substituted. Over here you can think that there are 2 pi bonds and it's a 4 electron donor ligand. It is also a 4 electron donor. It's also a 4 electron donor. It is a 1,3-butadiene, which is 4 electron contributor. It's a DPP ligand, which is also a 4 electron contributor. So these 3 cases, 2 of the carbonyl ligands will be substituted by the ligand. Over here this is a cyclooctadiene ligand and it is also a 4 electron contributor, and it will substitute these 2 ligands, these 2 carbonyls. Okay, so this is the case what's happening over here. Now we will move on to the metal carbonylate. Now metal carbonyl, what is the structure of metal carbonyl? This MCOX, it is a structure of metal carbonyl where X is the number of carbonyl ligands. Now the anionic form of this metal carbonyl, so you can think that this N minus, this kind of anionic form of metal carbonyl is called the metal carbonylate. So these are called your carbonylates. You can think that if acetic acid has a structure like this, and if you subtract or abstract one proton from this, it is forming this kind of anionic form. So it's called your acetate. Okay, it's acetic acid. From acetic acid, acetate is obtaining the anionic form of the acetic acid. From phenol, it's a phenol. If you abstract one proton, you will get the anionic form of phenol, which is called the phenolate. So applying the same concept, it's a anionic form of the metal carbonyl. Okay. Now what could be the possible way to generate the metal carbonyl? You can think that some 17 electron species like vanadium hexacarbonyl, it's a 17 electron species. If I treat it with sodium amalgam, so it will, here sodium will act as an electron source and it will produce this kind of carbonylate. So this is one method of the generation of the metal carbonylates. Another is the breaking of the metal-metal bonds upon application of alkali metals. Likewise, if you think that Mn2CO10, okay, Mn2CO10 has a structure like this. Now if it is treated with some sodium, that means the alkali metal, you can think that this bond will be cleaved and it will produce MnCO5 minus. two equivalent of this will be produced. And one more thing, here is sodium metal gives electron after this kind of ionization. So in the medium there are sodium plus, you can think that Na plus will be there. So the molecule will look like NaMnCO5. So you can think like that, and there will be two equivalent of this will be formed. Okay, so the metal bond cleavage upon application of the alkali metal. Similar kind of observation you can think that for CO2, CO8, if you treat it with sodium, then it will form NaCO4. Okay, so this is nothing but forming from this substrate, it is forming CO4 minus. This is the metal carbonylate, and in the medium there will be sodium plus, which will lead to the formation of this kind of salt-like structure. Now moving on to some reactions of metal carbonylates. But before going to discuss these reactions, now we have to know one important feature of the metal carbonylate. Over here you can see that it's a MnCO5. Okay, it's a MnCO5. Now MnCO5 minus. So if you think that what will be the oxidation state of the manganese, all carbonyls are your neutral ligand. So oxidation state over manganese, this one -1. So I can write this MnCO5 in this pattern, MnCO5 minus. Now this electron rich center can act as your nucleophile and as your base. Okay, so in acidic medium it can accept proton. So how you can think that, suppose proton source is present over here and it is a carbonylate which is nothing but accepting proton to produce this kind of molecule. The first reaction, if you take a look at the first reaction, this one is nothing but the treatment of the H plus over the metal carbonylate. So over here it acts as this metal carbonylate in this reaction acting as base. So metal carbonylate acting as base. Now what you can think that this is a MnCO5 minus, that means a metal carbonylate. Some alkyl halide is present. Now you can think that this can attack to the carbon center and it will remove the X minus, that means where halide is nothing but acting as your leaving group. So you can think that it is substituting the halide over here, and MnCO5 minus here acts as a nucleophile. The thing is happening over here, you can think that this Mn minus will attack over here and it will remove the iodine. So Ci bond, carbon iodine bond will be cleaved. Now iodine, being a good leaving group, will be removed from the system. So this kind of substitution reaction can take place over here. The similar kind of thing is happening for TMSCl, it is a trimethylsilyl chloride. Over here the attack occurs at the silicon center and chloride behaves as a leaving group. Here what you can think that this attack over here and this double bond shifts over there, and Br minus, being a good leaving group, is removed from the system. For this kind of halide, what you can think that for halide the halogen bond will be cleaved. So over here if it attacks over there, so X minus will be removed from the system. Suppose you are taking iodine and manganese carbonylate, so this will attack over here and iodide will be left from the system, being a good leaving group, thereby producing this compound. This will be a product. What is happening in this case? So for halogen it will react like this. Similar kind of reaction will occur over here, because now it can attack at this carbon center, which is the electrophilic one. It will produce O negative, it will come back, and the X minus will be removed from the system, being a good leaving group, so it can get a acylated product. Okay, so these all are some very interesting reactions of this metal carbonylates. Now we will discuss this reaction in detail because it is to some extent confusing. This is the metal carbonylate and this is the molecule. If you think that this will attack over here, iodide being a good leaving group will be left out from the system, then what is actually happening in this case? So if you only think this Ci bond, it is cleaved in such a way that it is producing this kind of system. This I minus, it is positive, and you can think that it is attacking over here. So this is the case what is happening. So in order to do this kind of bond breaking, this carbon must be delta positive to some extent, and that is why this Ci bond will be cleaved in this way. That means iodide will be the good leaving group in this case. Okay, but this is not the case what is happening over here, because of the presence of these three fluorine atoms. These three fluorine atoms will exert a strong minus I effect. In the GOC you have already seen that fluoride can act as very good minus I group, and that is why the delta positive charge over here is not stabilized. The delta positive charge is not stabilized, and so what I can say, if the bond breaks in the opposite manner, that means there are three fluorine atoms, and if I break the bond in this way, that means now I am producing I plus and CF3 minus. Over here this CF3 minus is very stable carbon ion. It's a very stable carbon ion because of the presence of these three strong minus I groups. So what I can say now, if the manganese carbonylate, okay, manganese carbonylate attacks over this iodine, the bond will be cleaved in this manner, thereby producing IMnCO5 plus CF3 minus. Okay, this is the product what we are getting from here. And in this reaction, what you can think, that this molecule, okay, if you take this draw the structure of the molecule, what you can find, okay, I am writing it over here. Now what I can think, that this is nothing but this kind of situation. This bromine means it will be negative and it will be positive. So the inside the coordination sphere, what you can think, that there are 5 carbonyls are present and there will be positive charge. So you can think that the positive plus 1 is the oxidation state of the rhenium center, because carbonyls are your neutral ligand. Now MnCO5, this metal carbonylate, will attack at this rhenium center, thereby forming a manganese rhenium bond. And what you can think, that this kind of situation is occurring where the ReCO5, which is basically a positive one, it is attached to the MnCO5 bond. Okay, that will be your product. So in all of these cases, the MnCO5 minus, that means the manganese pentacarbonylate, is behaving as your nucleophile. Okay, now let's move on to these questions. Over here, what you can think, that this cobalt here present in the negative 1 oxidation state, because carbonyls are your neutral ligands. So CO4, okay, there will be a negative charge over there. You can write it in this manner. Now this will act as a nucleophile, attack at the tin center, and one chloride will be removed from the system. So what you can think, that after the first substitution, it will look like this, where 2 more chlorine are present. Now there are 3 equivalent of this kind of metal carbonylates are given. So you can think that 2 more metal carbonylates will substitute these 2 chloride. So you will get a product like this, CO4, CO4, CO4. So this will be your product. Okay, so for the first place, this is you are getting. Now moving on to our second reaction. Second reaction is extremely important reaction. Over here, what you can think, that is CO5 2 minus. Over here it is 2 minus. So I can draw it in this way. For your simplicity, I am drawing it 2 negative charge over here. Now CH3COCl, acyl chloride is present. Acetyl chloride is present. Now it is attacking over here. It will be O negative. It will come back to throw away the Cl minus. So it is producing this kind of acylated product. But this is not our final product. Over here another negative charge is present. So it will come back to form chromium carbon double bond to produce this kind of O minus. So CO5, Cr, double bond, carbon, CH3 and O minus. Now remember this kind of system where I am talking about this R3O plus BF4 minus, this kind of molecule, it is nothing but a alkylating agent. So when this molecule is treated with Me3O plus BF4 minus, it is behaving as an alkylating agent and O alkylation will occur. So alkylation will occur over this center, oxygen center. So it will produce this kind of situation, CO methyl and CH3. This is a carbene molecule. I will make a separate video on the carbenes. There you can find out that what type of carbene is it, whether it is a Fischer carbene or the Schrock carbene. So I will make a separate video very soon. So there you can find the types of carbenes and some reactivity of the carbenes, whatever. So we'll discuss it in details. So now let's move on to our third reaction. Remember, this is an extremely important reaction. This is a reaction of metal carbonyl. So iron pentacarbonyl. So I am writing it in this way, FeCO4, and over here you can think that the carbonyl ligand, I am showing it by showing this kind of metal ligand pi back donation. Now this is our substrate and it is treated with sodium borohydride. So it's nothing but a source of hydride. So hydride will attack over this carbon center. It will make it O minus. So iron, carbon, O minus, and there will be a hydrogen over there, CO4. Now the next step is that it will come back to produce this kind of thing, FeCO4, C double bond OH, negative. Now you can think that this negative will abstract hydrogen from here. It will come back to produce this kind of thing, FeHCO4, C double bond O, negative. Okay. Now next step is the removal of the carbonyl from the system. So you can think that it is nothing but the removal of CO and it is producing CO4 FeH minus. You can write it in this way, H FeCO4 minus. This is one kind of molecule where metal hydrogen bond is occurring. In our upcoming lectures, I will make a separate video on the metal hydrides. There you can find that what will be the bonding pattern and what will be the spectral feature of this kind of metal hydride. Now instead of the sodium borohydride, which was the hydride source, now I am treating it with base NaOH. NaOH means OH minus will be there. Now it will attack over here in the similar way and this will form O negative. Okay, so what you can think that it will be CO4 FeCO minus. Now over here it's a OH. Now it will come back to produce this kind of system, CO4 Fe minus, C double bond O and H. Now the next step is the abstraction of hydrogen over here. Think it in this way that it is forming O minus. So what I can say, it is producing something like this, hydrogen CO O minus. Okay. Now the next step is that it will come back and it will form this kind of metal hydride, CO4 FeH minus, and now the byproduct is carbon dioxide. So in both the cases the product will be HFeCO4 minus. But for the first case carbon monoxide will be the byproduct, for the second case carbon dioxide will be the byproduct. The mechanism is similar but the difference is in the byproduct. Okay, so these are the three reactions which we have discussed in this lecture. Now in the next lecture you will get the reaction mechanism of the organometallic compounds like your oxidative addition. Then I will upload videos on reductive elimination, migratory insertion, beta hydride elimination. Okay, so thank you, happy learning. That's all for today.